Yeah, that's better. Hey, everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? You know, just because it is, I'm not going to say holiday, because it's not a holy day. It's just because everybody has a day off in the United States doesn't mean that everybody else does, right? The world goes on, right? The world goes on. News still happens. So that's kind of where I'm coming from today, is news still happens. So was looking around, came across some news, because, you know, I like to do that kind of thing. It looks like Facebook is not playing nicely. So, you know what? We'll just turn that off. They'll have to join in over here on YouTube. Not a problem. Is what it is. So for me, I'm looking at, you know, everything that's going on. And am I surprised? No. Am I shocked? No, not at all. What kind of news do we have going on today? Bitcoin is up. Bitcoin is currently up at about 91,597, right? Ethereum is up at $3,030.84. So all of it interesting to me. Why is that? Well, you had JP Morgan come out with a whole bunch of stuff in cahoots with BlackRock. I'm not going to say that there was manipulation going on, but they're definitely looking toward the market's moving in a particular way, because JP Morgan I said that yesterday, JP Morgan's making a big bet with this whole, you know, we expect Bitcoin to be at this price in 2026, 2028. And I'm just kind of like, oh, that's interesting, because it kind of demonstrates where the financial sector is looking at in terms of how they plan on moving with the next halving. And I'm like, I could care less about the next halving. I really could. I could care less. I think they're tying too much into that whole cycle thing. And for me, I will always analyze what others are doing just so I can have an understanding. But it's not the same. It's not the same. Right? I'm expecting the next cycle, like this cycle is different than the last. You know, this 4 years was different than the last 4 years. The next 4 years are going to be drastically different than the current 4 years. That's basically what I think. It's a cycle only because of the halving event. Nothing else is going to be the same. It's all moving quickly. It's all fluid. So that's what I'm kind of looking at. Today's question is only one question. Have you invested in yourself today? The world doesn't stop because the US has the day off. And the news proves it, right? Bitcoin's secret shift. Coinbase premium rises as sell pressure eases. Now I want you to think about that. Sell pressure is kind of easing when it comes to all of this. That's the point. Nothing stays down forever. Nothing stays up forever. Are we closer to 85 than we are to, let's say, 100? Obviously, technically, yes, right? But I think we can hit 95 pretty easily. I think we still have a lot of time to go. Excuse me, could we hit another all-time high? Yes, we could. Yes, we could. So as somebody that's, you know, in the retail space, I'm probably going to say, well, not even probably, I'm going to DCA, right? I'm absolutely going to DCA. Am I putting any extra dry powder in this space right now? A touch, like a tad is what I would say. But I'm not gonna drop a ton of dry powder in it. Why? Because right now I'm expecting 2026 to be more than tumultuous. There are a lot of bad things heading in our way, and I'm sitting back and I'm just holding on, right? It pains me to see things go down, right? Makes me less profitable. I'll be happy when things go back up. But I'm not expecting everything to be perfect. I'm really not. So I'm holding on to cash, you know, a little bit of cash. I'm holding on to things that, you know, make it so that I can easily move when I see things that are in the right place. I told you we're looking at companies that we might want to be able to buy. We're looking at stocks, bonds, options, crypto. We're looking at the whole gamut. Real estate, the whole gamut. Because not everything can remain where it is. Straight up. straight up. I have an interest in food, by the way. I have a big interest in food, like delis, pizzerias, places where people can go to pick up food, but on a much smaller scale, on a day-to-day scale. That's what I'm looking at. Because a lot of people are going to start thinking, I don't have enough money to go out to like a Costco, a Sam's, a BJ's, even a Walmart, Target. I have enough money to buy tonight's dinner. I think next year we're going to see a lot of that. Some people don't believe me, but I honestly think next year that we're going to see a lot of that. And we're going to see a lot of scooping up of things by large corporations. That's where I think we're headed. What other news do we have today? The SEC launches a shocking probe into Jefferies. That's right. U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission investigating Jefferies' relationship with bankrupt auto parts maker First Brands Group, according to a Financial Times report published today. The inquiry focuses on whether Jefferies provided investors with adequate details about its Point Bonita fund and its exposure to the failed auto business. Yeah. The reason why that caught my attention is because it involves autos. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we're starting to see a lot of subprime auto loans. People are missing their payments. People are missing their payments, and it's causing those lenders to tighten, what their parameters are for lending. Which means that eventually that's going to carry over to the car market because everybody's going to move less. There'll be less people that qualify. There'll be less people that'll be able to buy. That means auto companies are not going to continue enjoying high prices. They're not going to be able to continue playing that game. Oh, well, it was the tariffs, or it's this, or it's that. And the mom and the baba. No. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. And then you have, who is it? I think it's BMW. It's one of these car manufacturers. Actually, you know what? Could be Lexus. I think it's Lexus. So Ford tried a while ago. Ford tried that whole subscription thing. And, you buy a car, you spend stupid money on this car, and features are currently turned on, but you only get them for 3 months or something like that. And then you got to pay a monthly fee. You done lost your damn mind. If people spent all that money, they're not looking to spend another monthly on that nonsense. That's something to contemplate. But apparently, automakers are going to make another run for that whole subscription model. Next thing you know, you're going to subscribe just to keep your key active. Think I'm playing. I think you're going to see a lot of people start to find how companies are communicating with the cars and cutting that cord. You're going to find people that are going to be able to do it. It's nothing more than software. Somebody's going to hack a car. Cars have already been hacked. But I think it's ridiculous that, these high-end or even, mid-level car companies are saying, we're going to start to charge you for normal everyday things that are found in the car, even though you spent all this money. I want you to think about this. That also means that they have the ability to turn your car off whenever they feel like it, including by mistake. Have you lost your ever-loving mind? So I'm looking at that particular story with Jefferies in two different ways. It made me go look to see, well, what is the auto industry doing for parts and all that good stuff? 1, 2, what's the price tag that cars are going to be at, and what are you actually going to wind up getting? And of course, 3, the bonus is people are defaulting. When you start being unable to pay your car bill, you're on the path to defaulting on a loan. And we all know that all the new cars, well, yeah, they can track that car. So the idea of not parking near your house so that they can't come get it, yeah, that's a wrap, because they can pinpoint exactly where your car is. And then beep, beep, they just go pick it up. So, yeah. When I told you guys before that they're looking for you to live in a rented space, You're going to rent your home or apartment or house, right? You're going to rent your car because you can't afford to buy one, because that's the way it's always been, right? The lease payment is always cheaper than the buy payment. Still expensive, but cheaper nonetheless. And so I look at, the life that they're building for everybody, and it points to everything is for rent. Everything is for rent. The path to ownership is harder and harder and harder. That bar keeps getting raised. The haves do not want the have-nots to become haves. You can't be like us, even though they could never spend all the money that they have. Never happen. I told you, my oldest son had an assignment where he had to spend $1 billion. Listen here, he could not. I mean, we got the assignment done. We were able to do it, but it was ridiculously creative. It was hard for even me. So imagine being able to spend $1 billion. You're a billionaire. How much of that you're going to spend? You want to leave some to your people? Okay, I get it. But when you have $1,000,001, is that enough? Is that enough? You can afford to do anything that you want. You never have to work again. Is that enough? And what they're telling us is it's not. It's not even about the money anymore. It's about the power. It's about having power over others, which is why I tell you guys all the time, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. You can apply that to buying any kind of investment vehicle. Believe it or not, you can apply that to getting a job. Research the company that you're working for. Research the people you'd be working with. Research the person you'd be reporting to. Research why this role is open. Know your entries, know your exits. What your salary should be for the work they're going to have you do all the way through your career at that company. And absolutely invest deliberately. Is it worth it to me to put in overtime? Because I've calculated my hourly rate, and based on my hourly rate, I've heard from other people last year, these were the bonuses, did not cover overtime. See, I tell my kids, don't let them sucker you into thinking that, well, if you don't work overtime, you're not going to move ahead. No, I don't work for free. I don't work for free. Oh, but you have, unlimited paid time off, because when they fire you or lay you off, that's a check that they don't have to cut. Again, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Buy the book. Book says it all. Book says it all. What else do we have? Because believe it or not, there's news, so deal with me. Solana meme coin Bonk joins Swiss stock exchange. Solana-based meme coin Bonk has started trading on Switzerland's six Swiss exchange via an exchange-traded product, an ETP, launched by Bitcoin Capital. Just saying, pay attention to things. This is something that's happening over there. But it's interesting, isn't it? Do you think it's going to happen here? Do you think it's going to happen in other places? Notice how it's in Switzerland. It's probably the only safe fiat on the planet. Seriously. I want you to think about that. NASDAQ's International Securities Exchange filed a proposal with the U.S. SEC November 21st, 2025. I missed it. To raise options position limits for BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust from 250 to 1 million contracts. Big moves. This is something that obviously slid under everybody's radar. But that's a huge move. That's a 4x move. 250 to 1 million. That's interesting. That's right. So yeah, looking at things and how they touch things. What else happened? The World Federation of Exchanges, including NASDAQ, CME Group, all went to Congress and said, tokenized stocks are bad. What's the only reason you would say tokenized stocks are bad? What's the only reason? Yes, that's right, because it would prove nobody needs your stock exchange. Wow. Here's something else for you. There are platforms out there right now. I reported on one getting bought. I forgot the name of that platform, but one just got bought. I think Morgan Stanley bought them. But there are exchanges out there right now that are selling shares of companies that either don't want to go IPO or are pre-IPO. Again, it's just being brokered. It's an OTC transaction being brokered by this platform. That's it. It's the same way that if you knew somebody who was starting a company and they said, hey, I need an investor, and you go, here you go. There are a lot of companies out there that are saying, why do I have to go through that whole IPO process? If I have a platform like this, where all they're doing is matching company A to investor B, yeah, I don't need to go through that whole somebody buys up all my shares and then they sell the shares on a stock exchange for more money because that's how they make their money. Yeah, I don't need that. You see what I mean? And their shares don't get diluted and the company stays private for a while longer. See how that works? This is why I keep telling you guys, do your own research, learn about things. Learn about the movement of money. Learn about the movement of value, more importantly. Value is because value is money and credit. Assets. Value has a larger term, and each one of those pieces means something. Debt means something. Trust me. Do some research on it. Do some research on it. Now, I'm not planning on this show to be long, but there are a few things that I want to talk about. A few things. Bitcoin's perpetual futures trading has surged to historic levels, according to Al Fractal, CEO. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, so we'll just call him Mr. Wedson. Open interest hit an October peak at 5 times higher than Bitcoin's November 2021 all-time high. Binance now holds 30% of the market, while BitMEX's share dropped to 0.65%. Analysts predict Bitcoin could reach $100,000 if it reclaims 93,000 resistance, but warn of potential corrections below 88,000. Like I said, are we closer to 85? Now, right now, we seem to be consolidating in this space right here. We'll see what happens beyond that. Because I don't know if we're going to pop up or if we're going to pop down. I think chances are we could pop up. I think we could close the year out strong. Not necessarily at an all-time high, but I think we can close out the year stronger than where we are. Stronger than where we are. But something that caught my eye, I told you guys that S&P Global, the S&P 500, S&P Global has now rated Tether as weak. Arduino, CEO of Tether, came out and said, basically, we wear your loathing with pride. I'm sorry, but that's dope. That's the polite way of flipping somebody the bird. Oh, you hate me. No, I was trying to see if I have any tissues left. I don't care if you hate me. That's literally what this guy is saying. Something that caught my attention was, if you look at the market cap of, I know this is going to be a pain in the butt. If you look at the market cap of S&P Global, the market cap of S&P Global is about 150 billion. The market cap of USDT is 184.5 billion. So some staunchy old cracker, not necessarily old, but you get what I'm getting at, decides, we don't like you. I don't like you. Is it because I'm a part of the world that's changing your world? We're literally rocking your world and you're crying about it. Yeah, I would wear your loathing as a freaking badge of honor too. Yep. D Mac into his house. Thank you for letting me know that you invested in yourself. Tether is in a chess game that they will not win. It's a marathon. You think Tether won't win? That's interesting. We can debate about that. Here's my thought on Tether. Compared to the S&P, compared to S&P Global, Tether is a babe in the woods, right? New, it's facts, right? But Tether's been moving like a very smart company. They've been investing very well. They've been diversifying their holdings. And they're buying just more gold every time you turn around. So yes, it's a chess game, but I don't think it's against each other. I think it's a chess game of crypto, I think of the digital world versus the traditional world. And I don't think there's going to be a winner. I think there's going to be an outcome. And I think that outcome will be a combination of the two. My issue is that the old stodgy way of thinking is still prevalent in the traditional markets. I can't believe that the traditional markets are doing so much, but they're still fighting inevitability. That's my point. Yeah, Tether bought up a ton of gold. They're currently holding, I think, 116 metric tons of gold. And people are wasting time wagging their finger at Tether. Tether makes about $4 billion per quarter. And I think that's low. And I'm wondering, why are you wasting your time on that? Why are you doing that? I don't understand. I do not understand. Right? So when I look at companies going after Tether, when I look at banks going after stablecoin issuers that aren't banks, when I look at S&P global, and I look at all the other financial institutions doing one thing over here, but still trying to fight the fight to hold them back at the door, I'm not wasting my time like that. I am not going to waste my time like that. Right? They'll set up different lobbying groups because that's what's going on. All the exchanges, when I read that article to you, it's all the exchanges going out there, setting up a lobby group to go and say, please don't do this. They're saying that because they're not quite ready yet. They know that's a loss. They're just prolonging the inevitable. But they know they got caught on their heels and they're trying to build out their rails so they can move over to the new world. Some will be able to do it. Most won't. Don't get me wrong. I think Tether been eating good for a while with no oversight. Tether will continue to eat well with no oversight. I want you to stop and think about something. When everybody points to oversight, there are things that you and I want that we both agree on. I'm for sure about that. It's the oversight part that I want to speak about. Because I think when you hear me, you're going to say, yeah, that's what I really mean. I don't need oversight by the current overlords of the traditional markets. I don't need oversight from the current crop of people that are leading us down that primrose path. To me, it's a primrose path down to Armageddon, right? Because they're all fighting for pull back the rules for banking and blah, 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 wah, wah, wah. Do we not recall what happened 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009? Do we not recall all that stuff? Do we not recall what happened when we came off of gold? Somebody said it properly. The original bubble started when we came off of gold. That's when the original bubble started. Everything else is a bubble within the bubble. So if I want oversight, what I want is, please be audited. But oversight beyond that? No. Please be audited. Because what they're mad about is, well, they don't get oversight. Oh, you mean they're not playing the game by your rules? Your manipulative rules? Yeah, no, I think oversight is correct. There needs to be oversight. But I think the rules for that oversight needs to be fixed first. I've got more faith in Tether than I do in Wall Street. Put it to you like that. Just saying. Because they will go out of their way to make that buck because they have not determined what enough is. Crazy, no? Absolutely nuts. That's what I mean, right? So when I look at the new world versus the old, I am specifically looking at the ones that are sitting there whining and crying and talking out the sides of their necks. I'm specifically looking at them because they know it's already here. Yet they still put up this facade of a fight to buy them more time to see what they can do to control the new world. That's my issue. Oversight, definitely agree. But the way they do things, again, what happened to all those banks that were out there back in the day? Manufacturers Hanover, Chase Manhattan, Dime. Look at all these banks that used to be out there back in the day. If you trace them now, they all trace up to 4 banks. 4. And when you look at what happened to those banks, did things get better? Nah, they did not. So oversight, yes. Their kind of oversight where they remain in control and they make the rules. Nah, not that way. That's the whole point of digital assets. That's the whole point. I told you I had, I was sitting on a panel, this past Friday, and one of the guys on there was, stablecoin this and stablecoin that and stablecoin. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, and you think that you have a grasp on how fiat works, and literally only swapping stablecoin for the word fiat. That was his thought process. Is his thought process. And that's why I go, yeah, nah. These people are thinking almost backwards. Somebody said stable coins are going to carry different values, and I was like, what do you mean by that? That's not how they work. Or are you using the word stablecoin, but you mean Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, blah, 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 all the way down the line? Is that what you meant? I look at traditional finance with skepticism. I look at traditional finance as, who are the real leaders? I mean true leaders, not backward thinkers, not the ones still trying to grasp on to control. I mean true leaders. And I think if you look hard enough, you'll start to realize they're scarce. We're looking at a bunch of people that have money that are thinking that their money's going to go away. It's going to dry up. And that, God forbid, others want to make money, live a good life. Interesting, right? That's what I think about. It's hot tea. It tastes great. It's chai. So, yeah. But do I think that a company like S&P Global is going to be able to continue to talk nonsense against a company like Tether? They do different things. They do different things. And I think S&P Global is trying to find a way to remain relevant. That's it. Tell me what purpose they serve. If we just make a list of all the financial institutions out there and we list out what services each has, right? What are their differentiators? Nothing. Name. They all have investment banks. They all have wealth management arms. Like, what do you have that's actually different? And then you've got to ask yourself, what do they have that isn't happening in the digital asset space? Because something they don't care about, user sovereignty. They don't care about that. As long as they make their money, oh, your data got distributed. Oh, sorry about that. Slap on the wrist. Slap on the wrist. I've got more faith in regional banks. I've got more faith in local banks, community banks. I have more faith in them. A lot of them are not going to be able to survive. Straight up. There are a lot of them not going to be able to survive. If I were them, I'd start thinking about, let's go a little bit better, a little bit bigger than community. Let's branch out a little bit, corral our horses, because they should see what's coming. They should see what's coming. It's going to crush them first. And then when I look at banking as a whole against where we're going, they want to control that too, which is why I tell everybody we're going to have to invest just to survive. I'm not grasping at strings when I say, we're going to have to invest to survive. I'm pointing out facts. Look at the price of homes. A lot of people still have the dream of owning a home. Now that dream is changing to maybe at least I can afford to live in a home. That's a far cry from, a society that used to have a single income, be able to go on vacation, be able to send the kids to school, and be able to buy a house outright. Maybe even have it made. That's not happening now. That is not happening now. So it's something to think about. That's something to think about. So when I look at everything, I'm just gathering all the news. I'm just gathering all the news and figuring it all out. And I'm hoping that all of you are doing the same thing. I know D-Mac is not playing when he comes to his research. He is not playing games, and he does not state things that he has not researched to the hilt. Always prepared for a debate. That's what I'm talking about. Somebody else made a comment. I try to tell people about Shiba Inu. Tell people Shiba Inu is not dead. They're just not meme coin anymore, especially with the use partnership. Meme coin is a status of popularity. If you're a meme coin, you can be a meme coin and still have use case, right? Meme coin means you're just a popular coin. You have a popular name. They shook their uselessness years ago. People use Shiba Inu. So do I think Shiba Inu is going to come back? I haven't sold my bag. Just saying. There are coins out there that I'm just like, not selling this, not selling this, not selling this. I'm sprinkling. Sprinkle, sprinkle, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Think about where certain coins are now and the distance between where they are now to where they were just a few weeks ago. There's money to be made. We're not even talking about all-time highs. We're not even talking about all-time highs. We're just talking about, look at where they are now compared to where they were just a little while ago. What, the first or second week of October? And then you start to realize, oh, wow, there is a lot of upside. Can a market stay down forever? No. Right now, I'm spending a lot of my time looking at patterns. I'm looking to identify patterns, whether they're moving up or moving down. I'm looking for patterns, period. And I'm only doing it with coins that have a use case. If it doesn't have a use case, I'm not interested. Coins with no use case are going to die, in my humble opinion. In my humble opinion, I think that's what's going to wind up happening. But that's just me. That's just me. Anyway, everybody, I got family showing up, and it is Fatty Family Day in the United States. No, I will not call it anything else. I will not. Look at your history. No, I'm not playing that game. So it's Family Fatty Day or Fatty Family Day. I'm going to enjoy the family. I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to eat well. I'm going to drink well. I'm going to continue to do a little bit of work until the rest of the family gets here. Of course, I'm going to steal some food. My daughter made a cheesecake. I had to take a picture and send it to her grandma. Did you see what your granddaughter did? Yeah, it looks so good. So good. So yeah, I'm going to be leaving enough room so I can definitely just shove my face into that. I might not even share. Dead serious. I already told her I might not share. I might grab a spoon, snatch it, run to the car, lock all the doors, and eat it all. Just saying. I hope all of you enjoy the rest of your day. I will be back tomorrow. I'm not going to be back tonight, but I will be back tomorrow. Everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes. Tell your friends about this community because we are something special. Yeah, DMAC, crypto is strong use case. That's the big deal. My voice is deep when I make it deep. My voice is naturally even deeper than this. I raise it up an octave so that you can hear me. Yeah. You wouldn't want to listen to me in the morning. That's you don't want that. Anyway, everybody enjoy. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you for your trust. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.